We're going to keep talking, then I'm going to keep talking. My grandfather could talk to me in French Canadian, and I can understand it, but I couldn't speak it. I think the important thing to remember about speaking French is that you must be able to say expensive brands properly.
Ever heard of a YouTuber who might have called the drone invasion? Well, buckle up. On December 5th, Farmer, known for his sharp thinking, warned us about a potential UAP war involving the US military. He told folks to stock up on essentials: water, food, blankets, medicine, pretty much everything you'd need for a sci-fi apocalypse. And guess what? Mysterious drones started popping up over New Jersey and nearby areas. Coincidence? Maybe. But Farmer's followers are buzzing, and the FBI and DHS are digging deeper. Even crazier, Farmer's buddy Cryptex calls him the Michigan alien. Whoa, right? Is Farmer plugged into secret government intel, or maybe something even more out of this world? Whether it's rogue drones, misidentified aircraft, or something more mysterious, one thing's for sure. Farmer's prediction has everyone talking. So what do you think? Did Farmer see it coming, or is it all just a spooky coincidence?
Ooh, is it a spooky coincidence? We don't know. Am I up? Am I live? Can I be heard? Hey, obviously me. Well, not too obviously. I've never heard of you before, but welcome to the chat room, and it's good to see you also. I usually, just so you know, if you haven't been here before, maybe you have, but just not mention things, I will go through a series of self-promotion. Am I Mo? I don't know if I'm Mo, but go through a little bit of self-promotion here, as I like to do, but also to play some of my my more famous clips. This is my UFO sighting. Check it out. Whoops. Fuck that up. Hang on. Give me a second, guys. No way am I using AI, Mustang. Not happening. This is all me. And by the way, Cryptex made that video, not me. I've never made a video like that about myself. I think it'd be pompous. But Cryptex made that about me, and I think it's quite good because you know what? I'll take that because I did predict that I did predict that. Oh, you are Mustang. Stop it. Don't mess with me already. Doggone you. It's all right. Here we go.
Where the fuck you at?
So here we are.
Where the fuck you at?
I delivered here yesterday, and I'll put that clip up during the daytime so you guys can see the apartments are the same, all that stuff.
What is it? Won't show up on the
people,
camera?
Hey, you guys ever seen anything weird? Be surprised some of the answers.
Is that it? Shit, I need my glasses on.
This is the video that... There it is,
We'll see,
right there. There's
motherfucking
one of
alien.
the three that were there. That's the only one I saw at the time. That thing is
That's a
right
motherfucking
over
alien
the
right
roof
there.
and tree line. That's not up in the sky, you guys. It was a little
Told you this
pinpoint
shit
of
was
light.
real, man. Nobody fucking listens to
And
me.
within 1/2 of 1 millimeter of a
Alien
second,
right there.
when I made the word say, what, you're not going to show up for the camera? It went click, click, click. Whatever that is. It looked like a light came on somewhere, and then there they were. They materialized for my verbal command.
Where is it? What,
I didn't
won't
know
show up
that
on the camera?
that's what was going on. But seeing other people's experiences,
Is that it? Shit, I need my glasses on.
it's called manifestation. And I had already seen them. I had seen them moments before with my customer. Okay, I saw one giant red disc up in the sky turning. I did not get video of that, but my customer saw it with me. And I said to her, planets don't move. And she said, yeah, right. And this thing's going slowly across the sky. I mean, visually, you're watching it go on a straight line, but it's spinning like this. And it looks like the sun. And it's roiling in the middle like a boiling pot of lava, really, splashing around in the middle. And it's not very high up. This isn't something that could be mistaken for a satellite or Elon Musk net. I said to her, well, planets don't move. And she said, that's as far as I know, they don't move across the sky like that. I said, and planes have wings and blink and shit. This thing was just one solid color, no wings, no sound, no propulsion evident anywhere. And it was moving slowly, but evenly. I said, that's a UFO. And she said, I think you're right. Can I have my food? It's getting cold. And she went inside. Some people don't want to deal with this. Some people don't want to admit what they're seeing. It is disturbing to them. It is what they call ontologically shocking. And if you've ever been ontologically shocked, it's the type of shock that you think you might die from. It's something that sends such a fear into you. It didn't do that to me. I mean, obviously, by the video, if you guys listen to me, I'm almost joking about it, really. I do not. Wait, Junior, let me correct. I haven't tried it yet. Wait, damn it. There we go. I haven't tried it yet, but I mean, it is. I have a unit on top of here. They said everything worked, but I'll be honest with you. I don't know if it's propane or electric, because propane runs some shit in here, which I don't have hooked up because, quite frankly, I'm just nervous of gas like that. Only thing I'm gonna hook up with propane eventually here is my outdoor shower. I've never used a shower or toilet in this place one time. It's been a long 4 months. I gotta go real bad. Junior says, hey to Mustang, I'm glad to see you guys here today. Yeah, I don't know what happened the other day with the 90-minute live that I did, but as soon as it was done, I got a message saying I had violated standards and it was taken down, and that I wasn't allowed to broadcast until further review. So they must have let me back on the air today. Thanks. Thanks for giving me my First Amendment rights back. I don't think we said anything wrong in that live. I think maybe somebody complained about the GUN, since we have to do things like little kids around here. Maybe it's because I said the M word. Someone's child was taken away from them. But on YouTube, you're not allowed to say the M word. Even if you're non-monetized, apparently, which I am a non-monetized channel. I was pissed about it, but not that pissed. I mean, in the grand scheme of things, this isn't a money-making venue for me, and it was kind of a lame show. So we did go over the 4 learning styles. I enjoyed that pretty much, but we can incorporate that into future shows. Why do you ask so, Junior? I mean, you're worried about me out here, huh? I mean, I think that the AC will work. Right now, I got a Vornado going. I don't know if you guys, it's like this kind of long fan that it can either push air or pull air. It's like a $160 fan, and the air is quite cool. Yeah, Mustang. I mean, like I said, if I was being offensive to somebody or perhaps playing like copyrighted material, which on a non-monetized channel, if it's newsworthy and you state so, I think you're supposed to be able to do. I'm not on this forum to. I'm an American. I love America. I'm not here to start some weird militia. I think I clearly stated with the air pistol GUN. That's nothing you leave the house with. That's not for trouble. That's for snakes and target practice. When you live in the middle of a swamp on 120 acres, you got to have shit to defend yourself. And I don't mind sharing that with you guys just because I'm a liberal. Okay? In fact, I like sharing that with you guys. I like to let other people know who might have been like me before that you can train and defend yourself if you need to. It doesn't mean you have to be into it, and I do apologize to those that find the tool itself to be the problem, but I don't. I find the human behind it to be the problem, not to sound like some mouthpiece for the NRA. Maybe that got me banned when I went off about the NRA and, what a commie organization they are, and that I don't need to pay somebody $500 a year to tell me I got Second Amendment rights, and neither do you. Stop paying them. They don't deserve your money. And again, if you got a problem with gun manufacturers and you want to rob them of those dollars, then buy a well-inspected used weapon, get yourself trained, get a license, and defend yourself. If not, don't. There are plenty of people around to help you out with that. So it's not something where some of these conservative types want to just keep shoving down your throat this division in our country amongst people who own and don't. I don't think we should be fighting about our amendments and which ones are the right ones and the wrong ones. I think they're all right. I think the first one is first for a reason, and therefore the most important, because that really protects the other amendments, guys. That freedom of speech and expression, believe it or not, it's not the ability to talk about the Second Amendment or Third Amendment. It's the way to express yourself when talking about that. So in a lot of countries, you can't do that. The United States Constitution is the best written document in the history of this iteration of our planet, in my opinion. It's an amazing document. Magna Carta aside. Mustang says, hey to Boston. Boston Christian, wait a minute. How are you doing? It's good to see you. You don't usually come over and see me. This is a little bit different show. Well, let me get on with it here. I'm going to continue with my small presentation here, if you guys don't mind. Give me just a second. I kind of had them all lined up. Obviously, okay, well, I'm going to go right into yesterday's short. It's only 10 seconds. You guys, I'm actually at the place right now where I recorded my my videos about the UFOs, and I'm freaking out a little bit. We'll talk to you soon. You guys, I'm actually at the place right now where I recorded my my videos about the UFOs, and I'm freaking out a little bit. We'll talk to you soon. Boston is awesome. You guys, I'm actually at the place right now where... And bye-bye. We heard that enough. So yeah, that was really surreal yesterday. I had been back there once or twice on deliveries, but for whatever reason yesterday, it just really it was weird. I asked my female customer, I said, and she was kind of shy, you know, and it's a weird question to ask people from some, and you have to understand that there's not, and I'm not making this racial, I'm just talking demographics and truth. That apartment complex is over 90% African American. It's in the old Patwood subdivision on Kalamazoo's north side, and I'm very comfortable there. You know, like, I'm the kind of person that walks in like to that situation like I own the place, and I don't mean own it, but I mean I don't act uncomfortable. I'm saying hello to people. Let me ask you a question. And you know what? When you act like that, people aren't standoffish and they don't treat you like shit. They treat you like one of their own community. Okay, and I'm proud of that aspect of how I can be in real life. You know, it's one thing on here to come and talk about the kind of person you are. It's another thing to go out into the community and actually be that person. And I am. I really do have a way of communicating with people. I'm not patting myself on the back. It's a level of understanding and respect that you give certain communities, whether you're in someone's small town community. It's the same idea. You don't go screeching your tires through there, shooting stop signs with your gun. It's disrespectful. People have certain, even in big cities, people have certain expectations in their neighborhoods, on their streets, of how people should act. Doesn't mean you got to totally follow it. We still have overarching rights, but to not be aware of those little idiosyncrasies between neighborhoods and people and cultures and religions is to be foolish, in my opinion, and part of being a good investigator, which is really all this is all about. It's about investigation. See, when you have an anomalous experience like I had, you can either let your friends and family and people that you tell you you're crazy, they were cop drones, you don't know what you're talking about. They can clearly see the same video. But then when you send it to an expert like this man, who we're going to play here in a second, Mr. Scott Roeder, and you'll see, he's no joke. Here we go. We're just going to share a little bit of this from Jim from Quirk Zone. I want to give him a shout out. Jim from Quirk Zone is the first one that was on this case. He has a personal relationship with Mr. Roeder. Scott Roeder is a crime scene reconstruction specialist who has a company in Ohio called the Evidence Room. He's testified in over 1,500 murder trials as a company, either for the defense or prosecution. And he is a video analytics expert. That is who I sent my video to on the device that I recorded my, and that's how I make it like, when I say it's like a murder investigation, because there are missing parts of the puzzle, but Scott helped fill that in for me, and I did appreciate that. So let's just play a few minutes here of
what we've done is we've isolated a piece of the background, and inside of that yellow square is the tree branches that are above the fence. And then when we get to the other square, so bring that over, and that's off to the side. So we know that that's real. That's part of the environment. And now we've got the head that comes in with the smoke around it and the cloaking or whatever.
So glad you're here.
And we've identified this same exact area that we identified before, same exact area. And then bring it up and compare it side by side and pause it there. This is not part of the background.
Guys, blow your screens up.
This is an artifact that this being, through its technology, some kind of a lag in its cloaking device, in that because it's cloaking with whatever background it's in where it was before. And because this film that we're looking at here is only 0.8 of a second, there must have been some lag time between.
Okay, you guys catching that? Okay. So what Mr. Roeder, Scott Roeder, who analyzed my video also, is talking about is their ability to cloak, removing 66% of visible pixels from themselves, either biologically or through some sort of manipulation, either mechanically or biologically. We're not sure, of course. The hows are probably one of those 5 questions, who, what, when, where, how, why, whatever, that is the biggest, mystery in this puzzle. And that's because I think there's a lot of different things. Good to see you, Pitman. I think there's a lot of different things going on. I don't think one solution fits all, although I do believe that a lot of paranormal, cryptid, and that kind of thing stuff is related. I want to go back to that comment. Yeah. Holy shit, Junior. I want to hear that story sometime. For real. Man. djfarmer.llc@gmail.com, or you guys can do it the old-fashioned way if you want to get a hold of the show. P.O. Box 190, Edwardsburg, Michigan 49112. Send me a postcard. Send me a we'll be pen pals. Thank you, Captain. I got this hat from a really good dude, actually, at a place I used to work, a place where Derek Farmer had his own marijuana brand strain named, maybe not exactly after him, but it was his idea. Kalamazoo Kush. Maybe people will remember. I said, after watching a video on a corporate, and I think Captain will remember this, on a corporate, visual meeting, the company had played a beautiful commercial, basically, that someone had done on Detroit, Michigan. Kind of like, the Pistons are firing, and it's like this 5-minute gorgeous fly over the city and all the. And Trumbull College. And I pause when that happens. I realize I go out. My Elon Musk net isn't exactly where it needs to be. But, here in Michigan, being from a state, or the state, I should say, that handedly really brought the automobile to America. And we're suffering the environmental impacts from that to this day. To see some Tesla come in here that you plug in that's using the same dirty coal grid that your basic, electronics at home are using. I mean, where's the improvement there when you're talking about the materials in the battery that once they go back into the earth are incredibly poisonous to the earth? So 20 to life for selling pot should be like a sentence that should never exist in this country. There is nothing wrong with pot, or weed or reefer, whatever you want to call it. Nothing wrong with it. We all know that. Anyways, back to Scott for just a moment, you guys. I do want to stay somewhat focused here. You know how I can get a little sidetracked. And today's show, I wasn't really intending to go too long, but since they ripped down my live from 2 days ago, and never really explained what I had done to violate anything, I just wanted to go live to make sure I still could. Here we go.
Between that cloaking technology transferring while it moves. So this,
listen to this.
in this square here, does not belong to the background. This belongs directly to the shadow being that is projecting it from a different location. That's my hypothesis. But clearly it's an anomaly that doesn't belong there, and there is no earthly explanation for that to happen. So
thank you, Mr. Roeder. Mr. Roeder confirming that aliens are on this planet. Okay, if he's good enough to testify in 1,500 murder trials, then he's good enough to look and analyze Derek Farmer's video and say it's quote unquote legit, email chain provided upon request. And he's certainly good enough to completely break this one down. And by the way, he's working on the Miami Mall incident right now. That was a real alien incident. Same aliens that are in this were in the Miami Mall. I can almost guarantee it. I mean, the descriptions are the same. Smoky figures, very tall. Why are they smoky? Because they're cloaking 66% of their pixels. However they're doing that, biologically or mechanically. Okay, moving on. With just a little bit of wrap up here. Check this out. This is from the Quirk Zone. Again, Jim Quirk used to be a newspaper writer somewhere in Pennsylvania. I find him to be probably the most credible person on all of the internet on this subject. Please visit his show and sub up to Quirk Zone. That's at QUIRKZONE. Again, that's Jim Quirk. Through there, you can link up with Scott Roeder, who he is buddies with, and they oftentimes analyze stuff together. Here we go. Oops. Did I screw that up? Oh, yeah, here we go. Shit. Sorry, you guys, I totally screwed that up. Hang on a second. You know, it gets easier and easier over time to run this shit by yourself, but you know, I'm not Gary Dell'Abate. You know, I do need my own producer. I really do. Oh, here we go. Yeah, this is what I want to share with you. And then we'll be done with this and we can move on with the show. But I do want you guys, when I'm talking about Scott Roeder, to get an idea.
A couple things. That these entities, both in the background and in the foreground behind the fence, are real. They're there. This is not fake. This is not a fraud. I guarantee it.
Welcome to Yeah, exactly. That's the problem. I don't need a Tesla. I need a Detroit diesel, baby.
Welcome to Extraterrestrial Reality. I hope you enjoyed that.
Hook my show up.
Italy, and he's been a subscriber to my YouTube channel for a while. He's under the name File Mazio. But I want to say thank you very much, Nicola, for providing the translation. It was something that
yeah, right.
Nobody has.
I'll take that off there. Yeah. So before I get zinged or something, and they take me off the air, the idea there is that Jim was the first person to have the Kenmore family is I think they're from Mexico originally. So speaking Spanish, they had to have it translated. And it's not as if it's textbook Spanish. I mean, you're talking about people that are under high amounts of stress. They're witnessing. I mean, his son fell down in the yard after being eye zapped. Okay, eye zapped by an alien. The Scott Roeder later said, there, you can clearly see the aliens. I mean, if you watch that whole thing, there are no less than 5 different entities in that video. Some are very tall, some are short. Jim calls the most obvious one that's literally looking like it's driving the, the front end loader there. I think they needed parts for their ship. I know that sounds nutty, buddy. But their ship came in green like a streak on a cop vest cam. Anybody can watch this. It's on all over. By the way, those cops are still unattainable. They've been gone since the night of that incident. 2 years now, not back on the job. Why? If aliens don't exist, why did the cop say when he pulled up, You know, my partner saw something fall from the sky, and I'm actually worried about this one. Because they're real. They're here, regardless of what Miss Dolly Saffron says. If you watch Preston Dennett, I do respect a lot of what she says. She does fly these craps. You know, she knows the aliens, whatever. And she says they haven't been here in a couple of years based on our wacky magnetic situation right now going on this planet. But that was 2 years ago. And maybe that wacky magnetic situation is what caused that ship to come down in the Kenmore family's yard. But, well, Pitman, you know what happens. We were having an upside down American flag on my coat for protesting. And the slaughter of students in Kent State University. Yeah, well, because that's what I was telling people a couple weeks ago. I mean, they think it's so bad now. They don't realize this. There's been a few times in recent history where this country has almost literally had another civil war or literally come apart at the fabric. Look at Chicago Democratic Convention, of course, 1968. Police are just shooting people, you know. Chicago, as much of an American city and Midwestern city as that is, it's not called the big Democratic machine or whatever for no reason, especially in those days. Unions, strikes, all these kind of things. And Chicago was a very dangerous city. You didn't know who was your friend, who was your enemy. And it all sort of culminated, a lot of it culminated at that 68, you know, Democratic convention for president. Yeah, Junior, I mean, that's what we used to talk about when we were younger, right? That people got less time for murder than having some weed. And Junior, 20 to life, you must have had a semi-trailer full of weed. But that's not the point. You know, it's not, they knew even then that it wasn't that dangerous of a substance, of course. Mustang would like to know if you had to do time. Wow. Yeah, times have changed, haven't they? Times have changed. Well, I was going to end up wrapping all that with my quick 10-second, which everyone's seen a million times, but it just fit in with the subject matter that we were having today. So here we go. And this also, this is also true too.
If you go one step further, he was rumored to be a reptilian, Ray Crocodile.
Mm-hmm. Or a crock of shit.
If you go one step further, he was rumored to be a reptilian, Ray Crocodile.
Mm-hmm. Or a crock of shit.
So yeah. Anyways, you know, I think as we move on here towards disclosure, you guys are going to be hearing a lot more about these programs, official government programs. In fact, we now have senators and Congress people from both sides of the aisle calling for the defunding of AARO, AARO, which is the All Anomalous Resolution Office. That is basically our UFO office. For a, you know, of course, everyone has a department that they pay hundreds of millions of dollars to keep open on a subject that they don't admit exists. That makes fucking sense, doesn't it? Don't let anyone tell you it's not real. It's real. Whatever it is. It's the it that as a web sleuth I'm trying to get to. It's what's interesting. Why do you think Scott Roeder even takes the time? He doesn't make money on the alien crap. He makes money testifying in murder trials, getting paid by governments to do so. In fact, a few weeks ago, he, well, more than a few weeks, a few months, he was in Australia working on a rather important case from a ex-Olympic athlete who he got freed from prison named Oscar Pistorius. You can Google that. Okay. So go ahead. Oh, there's no such thing as off topic here with the Derek Farmer Network. I mean, you know, I have no idea, but you know, it's funny that you would mention that because now where I live, I'm dealing with some weird stories of cryptids. You know, I'm out in the Michigan swamp, I guess you would call it, southern central Michigan. I'm about 10 miles north of the Indiana border, just above Elkhart. any town named Elkhart, you know, it's not going to be real progressive. But you know what? Elkhart's a pretty nice town. I like it. Things are cheap. I mean, you can get a hotel room half the cost of Kalamazoo. Kalamazoo is out of hand expensive. It thinks it's Chicago all of a sudden. The gridlock traffic would indicate that you are in some area of some construction zone on the Eisenhower. But you're not. You're just in Kalamazoo. You can get nowhere. It's fucking painful. They have ruined transportation in that city. More bikes and pedestrians get hit in Kalamazoo trying to save more bikes and pedestrians than anywhere I've ever seen. Daily, it seems people are getting run over. Almost like there's a game out of it. I don't think there would be a difference, to be quite honest with you, XNT. I don't know if that's how you pronounce it. And welcome to our chat room. I really don't think there would be a difference. Okay, well, maybe Captain knows something we don't. Captain Tripp says, werewolves are men who are infected into wolves. Dogman's a cryptid. Okay, that makes sense to me. So, in other words, a werewolf would have to sustain some sort of infection through possibly a fluid, blood, semen. I hate to say that. I don't know if anyone's boning a werewolf. If they are, more power to you. And Dogman is a cryptid. Cryptids, of course, are what I think we're dealing with on the property now that I'm on 120 acres in a cornfield out in. I'm on some historical area too. It's weird historically. I don't know about magnetic ley lines and stuff, but there are still areas in this township I live in where the same houses that have been falling into the swamp have just never been cleared. They're still falling in the swamp. I mean, they got like these little wooden. This is Michigan, not Louisiana, by the way. I mean, you got to cross like a little wooden, bridge to get to your house over like swamp. It's just weird. It's weird around here. Yeah, and there's a lot of I like to go back and look at local. I wanted to do kind of a spin-off show called Pizza and UFOs. I'm still waiting for some graphics on that for someone to rip off some quick graphics and make a flyer so I can go around and old-fashioned boom boom staple them to all these small town light poles before they change them to cement. There's still wood out here, or before they bury them in the ground, of course. And have a show called Pizza and UFOs and do local reviews of mom and pop pizza places, no corporate shit. There are tons of awesome little stores around here, kind of like over by Chicago. You might run into a place called the Piggly Wiggly, that might have some delicious cake. Cake you can only find at the motherfucking Piggly Wiggly, in Winnetka or whatever. You know what I'm saying? And so around here we have all these gas stations and stuff that do have corporate names, Marathon mostly, but they are allowed to be run independently apparently because each one will have its own little sort of jam, sometimes literal jam, and just sometimes, figuratively speaking. Captain. I miss seeing you, Captain. I do. But there's no home here anymore. The home burnt down on my property about 25 years ago. I'm not sure the circumstances for that. Again, you guys, you have to understand too that the property I live on still has a cold case murder that's unsolved. And people go, well, why do you need guns? Well, they think it's someone local. And there was already a murder here once. I have snakes and varmint. I was surrounded by packs of coyotes the other night. I mean, why the fuck do you think I need guns? Plus, I enjoy shooting them, and I like my Second Amendment rights, even though I am a liberal. Ooh, I should check this out. Yeah, because this is right in our area, man. That's the thing, or ma'am, because I don't know who you are, of course, you're anonymous. There are things around here. The road system. I would like to talk about that for a second. Like, most roads in these counties, of course, they're very old, but they're gridded out, and it'll be a lot of letters and numbers, right? In Kalamazoo, it'll be your letters versus numbers, one literally going one direction, one going the other. A very easy grid pattern to figure out within the county spectrum of roads. But out here, it's a little bit different. Like, if you can imagine, like every lake has its own road. So like every road is like such and such lake road. Whoops, such and such lake road. It makes no sense. The roads don't go in straight lines. I have at least probably 40 to 50 lakes around me. There's got to be 100 campgrounds down here that are now full. By the way, maybe you can relate with this, like guys. I'm calling this now down here during this time of year the land of bad old white guys. Why? Well, because everyone pulling in with their Escalades, who have a cabin on the lake, a house on the lake, a boat on the lake. Oh, let's go to the campground. Let's go. These are all middle-aged white men like me, and you can tell they're bad because when they pull into that Marathon Piggly Wiggly, they're getting some gas, and I see them stuffing their pockets full of half pints of liquor, Skull long cut, cigarettes, shit they can't do at home, in the big city when their kids are watching. They get away from the wife and the kids a little bit, and they got the boat behind them. Boom. I mean, who knows what else they're buying? They probably got pornography with them, sickos. Who knows? They're eating red meat. I mean, they're just being bad. They're just being bad. Every dude I see pull in, who is probably some corporate, type, if not some, some kind of professional. I mean, they're driving nice, they have nice boats, and they all just have the worst. I can just imagine all of them going, I can't wait to get to that cabin on the lake so I can fucking get wasted. It's like, man, it just seems so weird to me to just not be who you are every day, But I'm glad I don't have to do that anymore. It's fun not getting wasted. Oh, shit, I never made my coffee. Give me a second, you guys. I'm a little dry. Oh, yeah, watching the dog there. I should be working, I should be working. I needed to be working, and then, I don't know. Maybe I'll go in later. I mean, I got a long few days ahead of me, in Kalamazoo, so... this is my drug now. I mean, I enjoy a nice cup of coffee. Instant. It's nice to see so many people in the chat room. I mean, I'll be honest with you. I mean, Hatchet Man Road. I want to go back to that, Captain. Between Kalamazoo and South Haven off M43, which in Kalamazoo is West Main, the road I live right off of. Definitely not the site of a family murder like the lore says. But if you go there, the energy is definitely up. Interesting. Well, because I've watched a few of those. And by the way, I think me and anyone I know could do a better show than half of that crap. I think that these people, they're not really from the area. They just start making all these shows on YouTube to see what hits, because some of their facts are just so far off locally. Like I think me and Justin or Beaks, Birds and Bass Covers, my mod, we'll be doing a show called 6 Degrees of Kalamazoo, which I figure is a great name if anybody was alive in the 90s and played 6 Degrees of Kevin Bacon. That most stories within 6 degrees can be related back to Kalamazoo, in my opinion. We're going to prove that. I'm really glad you didn't get that. I mean, you might have gotten out of it eventually, but I just don't see pot being a reason for anyone to have to get turned into a worse criminal. Unless you just take the pot away and give them a fine or something, at that time. It's this idea that every generation ends up saying, oh man, we're losing it. We're not as wholesome as we used to be. We're not as good as we used to. I think that's bullshit. I think it's the way you get older, and then you can sort of have something over the younger gen, so you can still feel important about your opinions and stuff, because you do become irrelevant at a point with age in this country, in this society. It's not always been true, Of course, the Japanese have traditionally, looked at their old people as the wise ones, but in this country, we look at old people as the little kids again. We treat them like little kids. We put them in homes and take away their rights, take away their money they worked for their whole life, and then give them subpar care until they die, pretty much. So, welcome to America. And I think it's the best country in the world to live in besides every other country. The other way around. It's the best place to be. We have the most chance to make things right, to take a system that did work and to build upon it. I'm not one of these anarchists who want to break down everything and start over in this country. I think that that's a kick in the face to people who have gone to war for our ideals, who have fought and died for things. And I think that, again, that being about consensus and compromise goes to show much more of a strong society with a fabric that is tighter woven, if you will, than and building upon things that are already there by taking something and improving it. The Japanese know that. Look at how they run their car platforms. In America, they change cars every 5 years. They just totally get rid of it and start from scratch. You look at the Honda Accord, the Civic, the Toyota Camry. These are platforms that have been being improved upon for 40 plus years. They didn't get rid of it. They just keep improving it. Makes sense to me. Do I eat holding a cig? Is that the question? Do I eat and smoke at the same time? No. No, I'm not that heavy a smoker. I've seen it happen. I do smoke a lot, Boston. You know, again, when I was a kid, it was a sign of maturity, you know, to smoke. And now it's a sign of stupidity. I'm both mature and stupid. You know, I mean, it's expensive when you don't have a lot. You know, I'm always pissing and moaning about money, yet you see me sucking these things down left and right. I gotta have something. And I don't do drugs anymore, besides weed. And I did my fair share of drugs. It's not fun. And that's not why I lost my stuff. I've never had a drug problem or drinking problem in that robbed all my money and made me do stupid things like steal stuff and commit crimes. I think that's just an excuse for people that were going to do that shit, to be honest with you anyways. Hey, there's Thad. You guys see he's getting there up on the couch and having a little, babysitting this dog here. You just happen to catch him here. He is next door at his house quite often. I also have a neighbor now, so for the most part, he comes and goes, but he also watches that. Yeah, Captain, you know, like I was saying, you know, it's one thing to piss and moan about the bad times. People can sort of understand that, but if you're going to have good times and not highlight them, you know, how seriously are you going to be taken in the world? You know, like, we all go through shit. Every single one of us goes through shit. But when it turns around, damn it, you better take notice, or else you're not appreciating it in the moment. That's important to me. You know, and this whole deal here, what we're doing here is important to me because I feel like, again, we are doing it in a different way. You know, I noticed I was looking at my history on YouTube. I don't know if you guys ever go back and look at what you've watched. And I watch a lot of YouTube. I don't have television per se, you know. It's my definite choice for, you know, entertainment, news, whatever. I know people love Twitter or X or whatever, but I really enjoy broadcasters that do what I do. And that's people like Jim Quirk, people that are real, like with this right here, you know. And I think that's why I like the Web Sleuth community so much, because it's real people on the other side of the camera as opposed to someone doing one of those, you know, top 50 crazy anomalous things. And it's just like this list, this constantly running list of AI generated, you know, scenarios for whatever story they're telling, not even related to the story they're telling. You won't find that shit here. I'm not letting AI put up a picture in the background of something I'm explaining because it's not what I saw. So either there'll be no picture or I'll be putting it up, you see. So when you asked me earlier about the AI, no, that was Cryptex who made that video. He must have punched that into chat. I won't even say it, whatever that is. And that's what it came up with, I guess. I don't like things coming up. But I did like it. I mean, that someone else made it about me. And that was real, you know. I didn't predict anything. It didn't come to me in a telepathic dream. I just was researching, and I realized something's going down. And I'll be damned if days later, after making that call, those drones didn't start flying and making big news around Jersey. By the way, they're still flying. They're anomalous. They're not from here. Okay, I know they sort of look like planes and helicopters at some point. They're not. They are mimicking our technology quite poorly. And after my whatever that was, UAP, that orb, that blob that I saw and recorded and sent to Scott Roeder, who then verified it. One day later, there is a famous story about Langley, Virginia, and the military base there, and those same objects for hours hanging over that military base, and they weren't able to do anything effectively against them. Everything got shut down. They had no defense, and this thing was basically doing recon. That's what it feels like to me. Their information systems doing recon. One is feeding the other. There seem to be indoor orbs, outdoor orbs, and ones that are just metal balls flying through the air, which I think are sort of in transition at that point. That's how I see it. Stage 1, 2, and 3 is the way that I heard it one time, and that made sense to me. I still think disclosure is coming soon with everything we know in quite an official way. I don't know if it'll be President Trump. I don't know if it'll be Senator Gillibrand. I don't know if it'll be, Marco Rubio. All of those people have been on board with disclosure at some point, believe it or not. All of these people are briefed behind the scenes on very real subject matter. So the debate isn't anymore, is it real or is it not real? It really should be, how long have you known, what do you know, and how compromised are we? Okay. Yeah, but man, I mean, they could just do that to you back then, They could just, if they didn't like something you were doing, they just beat the shit out of you, But we got video cameras now. I mean, that's not the society I want to live in either. At the same time, I don't like people taking out their aggression on other people and police for no reason. So it's just like a mixed thing. Like, I won't even watch those videos on YouTube where the ending ends with cops dying or innocent people dying. I don't support it. But I got to admit, I'll watch them if, like, some really bad actor is flying through, Orlando in a Challenger or a Charger usually, shooting around, trying to shoot at the cops, and they're driving. They usually end up T-boning a family and killing them anyways. So when the cops shoot them dead, I do enjoy those. I'm sorry, I do. But I feel like you lose your constitutional rights once you start taking the entire community's life into your hands. Selfish pricks. If people weren't selfish, then no, I would never be for even a criminal being shot. You want to have a trial, a fair process, but once you start taking the lives of other people's children and grandparents and families into your hands under selfish circumstance, you should expect anything to happen. And that includes you dying right there, my opinion. No, I just get a weird vibe off dudes that aren't honest with their families. I just know that these dudes are being bad. Bad, and when I say bad, I mean that jokingly. They're doing bad, like okay, no one's looking. I'm gonna get loaded. I'm gonna smoke cigarettes. I'm gonna chew tobacco. I'm drinking liquor. I'm doing what, if there's a hooker over here, I'm getting a hooker. They're doing everything they never do in their regular life right here, all around me on these 50 lakes with 100 campgrounds. A lot of drunk driving accidents with big trucks around here because of these people, by the way. These roads are very twisty and turny. Yes, I can. Yes, I can. I'd like to record some video for us, Boston, but when the landowner looks at me and says, there are dinosaurs on the property. And that's not what did you say? I thought she was talking about oil. Yes, and fossil fuels, And she said, no, I have a whole reason. When I was a little girl, yada, yada, yada. I'll let her tell that story. But she has a reason to believe there are dinosaurs on this planet. Cryptids, in other words. These are interdimensional creatures or otherworldly creatures or possibly ultra-terrestrial creatures that live beneath our feet. Either more advanced or less advanced, depending on what their evolution is. But some of them are able to somehow be either transported here, brought here, or are left over here from another time. All this sounds nutty, buddy. I'm a science atheist. Okay, I don't believe in shit like this, but I now believe in shit like this because I've seen enough stuff. I've heard enough stories. All around here, you got people with 10-foot Sasquatch cutouts in their yard. I asked the question in the show the other day. Is it like a scarecrow? Or is it merely for entertainment? I don't know. I want to ask these people. But someone said, when you're seeing a lot of these silhouette cutouts of Bigfoot, and we call it Bigfoot, that's our name we give it. We don't know what this creature is or what dimension it's from. I feel as if several years back, as serious as I took the UFO subject, if you ever brought up like, oh, well, Bigfoot and UFOs together, you would be shunned even within your own UFO community. I've stopped doing that because I do feel there is relation between all this paranormal activity, these cryptids, and the UFO UAP subject matter. How it ties together, I don't know. You know, how many varieties? From what time? From where? What do they want? Who are they? I do believe they're here. You know, it's not just fodder for me. Yeah, well, you know, if anybody watches the show, of course, you know, I could do one tonight probably. I took the day off from work. I mean, sorry, Bitman, please don't tell anyone. I should be working. I got 30 hours scheduled over the next 3 days. You know, it's just like I can't work every fucking day, and I should be. Don't get me wrong, but today was so gorgeous out here, and there's some things around here I want to get done also. So, but yeah, you know, I'd like to find out the story because I said 20 years ago, only 15 miles from here, I had what I considered to be. I didn't know what to call it. I didn't know it was called a cryptid. I mean, it was nothing Bigfoot, and I didn't see the actual creature, but whatever pterodactyl thing flew over my car as I was going around the sharpest curve. I could even go record that. It's right around the corner at a place called Gravel Lake, Gravel Lake, right here around where I live in Cass County. You guys can Google it. There's a very sharp curve, and as I'm coming around this curve, something with a wingspan larger than my vehicle and with a whoosh that moved my vehicle back and forth, I felt, almost made me drive right off the road into a cornfield. I had a witness with me that day, by the way. And I said, I've never experienced anything like that. It was like, and there are some big birds out here, but I feel that if, the landowner mentioned flying dinosaurs. So, yeah, I don't think he has time for me, man. You know, I mean, they just hired him. They just legitimately hired him in one of the congressional offices to combat bad information from Arrow, the very organization assigned to tell us the truth about this subject matter. And now Gillibrand and others are calling, I was going to finish this thought, for the defunding of Arrow, because guess who's actually doing their job? The FBI. Who knew that this whole time they had a UFO bureau within the FBI besides Fox Mulder? But they did. And they're being forthcoming with the information with Congress in secured compartmentalized information facilities, SCIFs, in other words. And yeah, well, you know, I think cryptid, dinosaur. Now, look, we know the science is a lot of dogma like religion. They do not want to change the narrative based on new evidence. It ruins everything. Here you have hundreds of years of case study and things going in one direction, and all of a sudden one thing could upend all of that and delegitimize what, you know, this previous generations of scientists have proven. So they won't even look at new evidence. But I think the thought would be that maybe dinosaurs didn't die out 160 million years ago with a strike of a comet, that some of them were underground, that they evolved underground and became the reptilians that we call aliens today, as one of the factions that are controlling the agenda on this planet without our knowledge. I'm not saying they're bad. I'm not saying they're evil. In fact, they've been noted as scary as they look, that they're actually allies of the human race. So there are enemies, there are allies, but apparently we do have allies, guys, out there in this galactic federation, as ridiculous as that sounds. So yeah, dinosaurs, yeah, would just be cryptids. I think that's what, you know, but not everyone speaks. I was quoting the landowner. You know, and as a small child, she felt that they were dinosaurs. And she's had some experience with this out here on this very property. Hey, Sensi. Yeah, Sensi, my mod. But you probably never had to throw anyone out or even reprimand them here. I don't have a bad chat. I don't know what it is. You guys are so great. I very rarely get a negative comment, and I know my mods will put the smackdown on them if I do, and I always support my mods. I don't question them like I was questioned after making decisions in certain groups. Because to me, if a mod, like, this isn't a contentious group, but I was a mod in a contentious group where I'm throwing people out, and then everyone in chat's going, why'd you do this? Why'd you do that? I said, the next person that asks me why I did it, I'm going to throw out. Because I'm not going to be badgered for making a decision, and the host didn't stick up for that. And that was part of me quitting that show. Honestly. I don't think that a mod should be badgered for making a decision by the other people in the chat. That's not what you want. You want to support your mod, and if they did make a mistake, correct them behind the scenes, or take them, take the wrench away, I guess, if they're abusing their authority, whatever that means. Stupid, but I'll give everybody a wrench. You could be the fucking Thunderdome of mods. You guys can start throwing each other out and timing each other. We can have a whole day with that if you want. I don't care. Anyways, guys, we're coming up on an hour. I think this subject we're going to leave pretty much for just a singular subject today. I don't want to expand too much. I did just want to come on, and hopefully my live here today gets to stay up. I don't recall being offensive the other day when it was ripped down, and I don't even know where it's at. I can't find it nowhere. So they must just keep it. I'm not even allowed to watch it myself and try to find out what I did wrong. But I didn't do anything wrong. Nothing wrong with the First Amendment. There's nothing wrong with free speech. Now, if you're inciting violence or your message is one of, I don't know. I don't even know what would quantify pulling a show down other than inciting, violence or hate speech or something like that. I don't hate anybody. I love everyone the same, so, I haven't checked the studio yet. That's a good question, Sensi. Can I just give you I hate that. I hate that end of it. Like, I hate the dramatic end of it. I love the numbers end of it. My favorite part of running I paused. So I don't know what the studio says yet. I mean, I don't even want, it's like when I start reading that shit, then I start thinking about it. It's like the show's gone. They have no reason to take it down. So really there's nothing they can say to me that'll justify it. I don't care if someone complained because they didn't like GUNSs. Welcome to America where we have free speech rights. And I'm going to keep fucking putting them up. Okay? But not today, because today's show was a specific subject. And I thank you guys for being here. But if you think I'm going to run away scared from some subject matter based on them taking my show down, you are nuts. In fact, I will push it even harder. And I will be looking for another format to join up with YouTube at least, to where if that does happen, there'll be some place we can bounce over to either continue watching or actually watch the program that we did live. And I consider we do these shows together. Let me go through the comments here. First of all, I want to thank everyone who showed up today. I've been getting a really great, obviously me, thank you for coming in. Nice to see some new people also engage a little bit. Junior, but it's always great to have my classics here like Junior and Mustang. Again, I'm going to answer this. No, hell no will I use AI unless forced. I agree. I did nothing wrong. Boston, of course, I know Boston from a lot of other shows. In the chat, we've always been fast friends, but nice to see you over here. And maybe you are here sometimes, but you just don't comment, But I'm really glad to see you today. Fitman, it's always great to see you. Hopefully we'll see you in person soon. Captain, it was great to see you the other day. Thanks for showing up today. It's good to have some folks I know in here also. Junior, thanks for upvoting me. But again, you guys, if there's ever anything you don't like about it, rather than complain to YouTube, just hit the thumbs down and make a comment. Like, I didn't like this farmer. I didn't like that. That's never going to offend me. In fact, I'd rather have you guys be honest than just start hitting the like and the share and all that crap. I don't even ask you guys to do that because it just feels like panhandling to me. Anyways, to go through it here though. Yeah, we had a lot. XNT, thank you. A new person in chat. Nice to see you again, Captain. Great to see you. I think that pretty much covers it, guys. Everyone was really participatory. This is Sensi, of course. Thank you for being here. I know it's it's probably evening where you're at, and you're just getting settled in for the night. And I hope you have a good, fun Saturday night planned out, or at least something fun and quaint to be doing wherever you're at. Take care of each other. Take care of yourselves. Keep your eyes to the skies. We'll be getting disclosure here eventually. More things are going to leak out. It's going to be the biggest story of this planet's lifetime. When we find out, not only aren't we alone, but they've been in communication, visiting, and been involved in our existence the entire time. It is going to blow you guys away. It really is. And in hopefully a good way. Hopefully it doesn't turn out bad. I don't know what's going to happen. It might turn out bad. I don't know. Might turn out great. But I hope I'm here to find out. You guys have a great day. Thanks for joining me, and we will see you shortly, maybe as soon as tonight with a fire. Yada, yada, unless I know what the hell I'm doing. So this RV gets towed in here. Well, there's just like a sewer pipe or something called a sewer pipe underneath of this thing that got sort of somehow disengaged from the, I guess what we would call the crapper. So it's all just a big mess right now. Thank God there's a 24-hour Shell station around the corner. If you guys are up there watching tonight, I love you guys. Sorry I overflowed the toffee cappuccino machine once again, but it says halfway or 3/4, but that's bullshit, and you guys know it.